Hey, Roger here. I get this question all the time, so I thought maybe it's time that I address this and answer it. The question is like this. Somebody comes to me regularly and says, Roger, we want to buy a house, but we don't know where to start. What do we do? Let me explain the process. I think it's going to help you to understand what happens when you buy a house. The first thing we need to do is get you pre-approved, okay? So we'll go to our lender or a mortgage broker. Now, this is a sample letter from Stockton. I use them a lot. And so you get a letter that pre-approves you that says, yes, you are qualified to buy this house. It'll have a certain amount built into it. It'll tell the seller how much you're approved for. We give them this. This is the first thing. We're giving them 4 things. This is the first thing we're going to give them. So your first step really to buying a house is to get pre-approved from a lender or from a mortgage broker. So we got that. Then secondly, we're going to write up an offer. Now, this is all changing for us realtors here in Central Kentucky. We used to call it an offer to purchase. Now we're going to call it a real estate purchase and sale contract. We went from 5 pages to 11 pages, okay? So you're going to fill out this thing. Your realtor will help you do this. I'll help you do it if you're my client. And we go through this. There's a bunch of things we're going to check off and all that. But we fill out the offer, or what we call this now, the purchase and sale contract, to give that to the other realtor, the listing realtor. Third thing we're going to do is they're going to provide us what we call a seller's disclosure. Now that means that that property owner is going to write out a whole bunch of stuff, going to fill out a bunch of pages, about 5 pages of stuff about the house. Now this is incredibly important because what you're going to do as a buyer is you're going to read through this, make sure you understand the things about this house that may affect the value. Now, anything that the owner knows about the house that's important has got to go on this document. And you're going to have to read this over and initial it and sign it saying that you've read this over. Because you can't come back and then ask him to fix anything that's on this because you're making your offer based on having read this, knowing if he says, for instance, we got a little bit of a leaky gutter in the back over the back door. Okay, puts that on there. Well, you read that over. Okay. Back gutter leaks a little bit. We're making an offer based on knowing that. So it's not really appropriate to go back later and say, hey, we need you to fix the back gutter. When he said, look, I already told you about this. You read this, you signed off on it. You knew this when you made the offer. Now, some other stuff may come up in an inspection, but that's a whole different deal. We're now just getting the 4 things we need for an offer. And this is number 3. We're signing off on the seller's disclosure of property condition. The last thing we're going to do is put down earnest money. Okay, so we're going to write a check. Now, if you're my client, we'll write it out to ReMax Creative Escrow. That's probably going to look backwards in this video. And it's usually for about 1% of the sale of the house. So we'll say like this example here is $3,000. We're going to give this to, in my case, you give it to me. I give it to my broker. They put it in an escrow account. So what happens then is that at the closing, that money comes back to you to apply towards the purchase of the house. Now, the idea of the earnest money is that tells the seller that you're serious about this and you're not going to just walk away for no reason. Now, if something comes up on the inspection, it's a problem, maybe it doesn't appraise. I mean, there are ways you can walk away from this deal, but typically you don't want to walk away just for no reason. And it's a possibility that if you do that, you may lose your earnest money. So anyway, this just says that you're serious about this. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to give them a letter of approval for your loan. We're going to give a signed contract, really an offer. We're going to give them a sign off on the seller's disclosure, and then we're going to give them the escrow money. Okay, that's going to go in. Actually, my broker will hold on to it, but that goes in an escrow account. Then we're ready to go. Then we see what they do with our offer. They're either going to accept it or reject it, or they're going to counter. And that's when we start negotiating everything. That's when all the pieces start to move in. That's where I help you out, make sure you get a good deal on this. And then we go through some other steps. But that's where we start with buying a house. There you go. Well, I hope that helps. Thanks for watching.